Hey, it's the normal playing guy, and hey, am I drunk? Yeah, probably. Right, so what do we have? We have the new news, and that is physical Turles, right? You can't have missed it. If you did, you're an idiot, but hey, yes, you can't have missed it. Turles is the next Dock and Fest. It's got to come out soon, and boy, goddamn, do we have a lot. We have Easy A's, we have a new Prime Battle LR coming out, and we just have many awakenings. So we're going to check out the new dude as well as checking out what this guy can do. Now, this is my number one favorite unit in the game. It's the OG true villain, right? The true real movie villain, and it's like an evil Goku. It's like a plus for me. This is my favorite unit. Tula's lettuce is pretty good. So let us crack on. So, Space Traveling Warriors or Pure Saiyans, 3 key 170%, planetary destruction and low class warrior is the additional 200% buff. So fantastic. Space Traveling Warriors and Pure Saiyans is pretty good. Yes, that will mean various Vegetas, Nappas, and of course Turles, but more importantly, it's Space Traveling Warriors. That will include the likes of like Cooler, LR Cooler, Freezers, uh, Vegetas, Pure Saiyans, Bojack. It will include a lot. Planetary destruction will also be the main thing to go with it for the 200%. So it's basically saying movie bosses. Planetary destruction slash space traveling warriors equals movie bosses. So so let's check him out. So, if there is a Goku family category enemy, or an enemy who includes Gohan at the start of the character's turn, you have an entrance animation, which gives extreme class allies 3 key 18% attack. So, the 3 key is most important, but the 18% attack would just mean they hit harder. But the key is strict. So it's Goku family, or specifically anyone whose name includes Gohan Kid. So it is basically just Goku family. So the guy hates Goku's family. So 160% at the start of turn. Woohoo. So extra 60% attack and launches an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack when HP is 50% or more. Lovely. 100% attack when performing a super attack. Super attack effect stacks attack and recovers 6% HP. God, the guy's going to hit hard. Wow, okay, so you're getting 3 key 18% attack for extreme class allies. You're going to get 160%, 100% on super attack, extra 60% when above a certain threshold, and you're stacking attack. Key plus 2 up to 8 reduces damage received by 5 up to 20, and defense 40 up to 160 with each super attack performed. Oh, man, that's going to be pretty nuts. Super effective against all types, and a guaranteed additional attack that itself has a 50% chance to become a super attack, and which when you perform 6 attacks in a battle. Wow, the guy's going to hit ridiculously hard. So he has 160% to stats. His only defense comes in with each super attack performed. So that basically is the new year, 2023 New Year physical Gohan, right? Beast Gohan, Enraged Gohan, whatever you call him. He builds up with every super attack performed. Same sort of deal, only this guy gets defense, damage reduction, and key. Pretty gnarly. So he does have an additional that's built in when you're over 50% HP, and another one for when you perform 6 attacks. But normally you would just get an additional normal for over 50% HP. Now, it is a guaranteed attack, so fine, but it's not a guaranteed addition, and it's not even like a great chance for a super attack. So that's probably the only downside. This guy builds up on super attacks, especially the damage reduction and defense, and in key. Because the guy, he doesn't have any key in his passive. Remember, the guy gives 3 key to allies, but he has nothing for himself. Now, turn 1, the guy has 0 key. When he super attacks, he'll give himself 2, but you don't get that until after you super attacked, which is ridiculous. Which is stacking attack. Sure, you don't even get any defense for the turn. It's not as if you get 30% defense for the turn. This guy's a little weird. I mean, okay, let's check out his 55% stats. 55% is coming in with 11,000. Fine. I mean, we talk about LR Black, who's just had his easy A, and he comes in, and to get 11,000, you need to have 90%, basically. 90% to 100%. So, fine. We talk about 11,000, and it's more than what. Basically, this is essentially 8th anniversary LR equivalents. They rock in at 55% with that amount of defense. So, sure, they're going to be no defensively viability less off than a brand new 55% 8th anniversary unit. So we're keeping a certain trend, right? They're not rubbish in a sense of start of turn. The only problem is the only defense you get, period, is super attacks. So great, your super attack will stack attack and you do get 40% defense, which I suppose is one way of looking at it, but a double super will give you 80% defense, will give you stacking attack, 4 key, and 10% damage reduction. But you got to get that double super. If you don't get this, which triggers as a additional super attack, you're not going to get that. And if it's just another normal, all of this you can kiss bye-bye to because it's super attack only. The fact that it's mad to believe that in the 8th anniversary, the ninth year era, we are looking at this is pretty nuts. Stacking attack, fine. The guy's going to hit hard, but there's no defense, but he does recover HP. Fine. But here's something that I've already seen. So, as great as he is, you'll find that a huge amount of his power comes from his links. God damn, we got big bad bosses and thirst for conquest. That alone gives you 40% attack and defense. How nutty is that? You're getting 40% of stats before you've done anything, period, just with Big Bad Bosses level 10 and Thirst for Conquest level 10. Yes, Destroy the Universe gives you an additional 15% defense to 55%, only if you have Destroy the Universe, which is related to said Turles units, which we have here as well. We got Days and Cacao, and then you've got Almond and Raisin, right? So sure, you can actually get that these days, but normally you just be rocking this 40%. Same warrior race is a nice attack. Prepare for battle gives you just a nice amount of little stats. Mainly outside the 5%, it's just 2 key and the rest is attack, right? So yeah, links. Remember I was going back to my video where does links actually matter? For the largest part, yes, but they only really affect extreme class, because this only really matters at level 10, both these two. In most particular is this, because this is higher than this. But between the both, if you get, because like this is HP restricted, this isn't. But if you get this like 7 or 8, where you're talking like 13%, and this is at the level 10, the dude's rocking an insane amount of stats. The problem is this guy has no key. Nothing. I mean, he has prepared for battle, which is something, but he has absolutely nothing. So great, you get prepared for battle, but you need support. Not really many space traveling warriors or planetary destruction, if any, that give key as a support, which is interesting. But yeah, okay, so the guy's one of those, if you get it right, you get it right, and he's going to be a god, right? Because he's going to have damage reduction, he's going to have additional defense, key, right? A double super will give him 80% defense, 10% damage reduction, 160% stats, comparable to 8th anniversary units. Brilliant. Outside of a double super, or hell, even a triple super, the guy's rubbish. So you could triple super maximum, which theoretically could give you 120% defense, 15% damage reduction. What are the chances of you triple supering? It's just not going to happen too much. So it's a bit of a shame. Okay, so what does he work well with? Pure Saiyans, Final Trump, Movie Bosses, Low Class, Space Traveling, Terrifying Conquerors, Planetary Destruction. Okay, so basically, Pure Saiyans you wouldn't rock him as because you got many superclass. Final Trump, no, you wouldn't rock him as because you got all the fusions. So Low Class Warrior, yes. Movie Boss, hell yes. Basically everything but those two, yeah. You'll rock him on absolutely everything and he could be a huge, powerful addition. Only problem is, he's not the best Turles in the game. This guy is the best Turles in the game. Last year we had the easy A for AGL movie hero, movie boss Turles. The dude monstrous. The dude has like 300k start of turn. The dude gets he raises defense. He has his chance to stun. He stacks in that particular form when he transforms and has a ridiculous amount of stats. This AGL Turles is pretty bonkers. No doubt that we need a top end one who's pumping out like 800k. So sure, I have seen people. I've seen because JP's got this out for a while. I've seen people pump out and say like, "Oh, I've hit like almost 1 million in defense without support, just with his links at max level with the best 200% team." Sure, but like even those people will admit you struggle for key and super attacks. So sure, this guy's going to be pretty redonkulous. Do we have the base version for this guy? No, it's probably because well, whatever. But like this guy and his normal version will be a fantastic one because this guy transforms. You will be able to use him side by side, despite the fact they're both called Turles, because this guy he has a transformation. Whether this guy doesn't, you are also able to use LR Turles, who in the right sort of situation can be powerful, but is now the third best Turles in the game, compared to whether or not you depend whether or not you want the physical, who will probably have higher start of turn stats and probably will have an innate higher defense and even attack. But the AGL Turles, he gives attack, defense, key. He can heal. He has this ridiculous transformation which stacks, and the guy is pretty broken. So again, but like check this out: Big Bad Boss is thirst for conquest, destroy the universe. Between the two of them, not a problem. Hell, let's check out Raditz. Raditz is pretty bonkers, right? And again, same warrior race, brutal beatdown, prepare for battle. So plenty of attack and a little bit of key. And we check out this guy in terms of like space traveler warriors, Big Bad Bosses, thirst for conquest. Pretty common across the board. No matter what we get thirst for conquest across more than anything. We get this guy, thirst for conquest. He also happens to have big bad bosses. So in terms of stats, yes, but in terms of no matter what, there is this guy who's giving prepare for battle, which is key. Cooler doesn't give key. This particular Raditz does. So Raditz in low class warriors give key. That's fine. By any chance, what do these guys do? So like his particular units that come out alongside don't give key. Plenty of stats, but Almond and Raisin don't give key, and Cacao and Diaz don't give key. Pretty ridiculous, unless what we read into is whatever they read into. Look at this list. Pretty powerful set of people, but not exactly the best gelling team in the world. Okay, you can get stats. So the Pure Saiyans and Low Class Warrior might be the better team for him, because Space Traveling Warriors and Planetary Destruction will not work out well. So, yes, the dude has an active skill, but not a transformation. So it can be activated when there's a Goku family enemy, or an enemy who includes Gohan from the third turn or from the sixth turn from the start of battle. So Gohan from the third or from a Goku family from the sixth, but it's specifically pinpointing Goku Kid is from the third point. So what do you get? Greatly raise attack. Well, I suppose if you've been stacking and stacking and stacking, a crit would be pretty ridiculous, but that would imply you've been stacking and you'd be able to get a crit in this. Ultimately, I think this guy is built pretty wonky, right? He seems like in the best case scenario, pretty ridiculous. 80% defense, well, actually, theoretically, 120% defense on super 3 times. Damage reduction 15%, that's 3 times. And you get 6 key, that's pretty ridiculous. The guy can seem pretty nutty, but you gotta get that. Well, anyway, what does this happen? So you get this unit, but you also have 2 banner units, right? The 2 banner units is Diaz and Cacao and Almond and Raisin. Let's do Almond and Raisin, right? So what do we do? Planetary Destruction, 3 key, 130%. Woohoo. So that would actually work. So for like Super Battle Road and Battlefield, 150%. What does 55% get us? 8,000 That's like the most recent LR Black. LR EZA Black has just had 8,000, or more or less a 55%. So you kind of have an idea what he's at. And 150%, I can pretty much bet you then they're sitting at around 150k, 140k, at around about nearly rainbow. So at a 55%, just over 100k, so not particularly impressive just from what I've just read. So planetary destruction allies, one key 30%. You get an additional 20% defense and chance of performing a crit 10% for those who belong to space traveling warriors. So basically, space traveling warriors and planetary destruction get 50% defense, 30% attack with the key. In particular, just planetary destruction still gets a pretty respectable one key 30%. So you do guard. This unit does guard, and you do reduce 20% as the first attacker. You see, if this unit, if you just removed this, just remove the highlighted bits, the dude is pretty powerful. Guards all attacks and reduces damage by 20%. That's fine. When you add those 6 words or whatever, 7 words, you're just making things worse, and you just made it worse. It's the first. That's just not great. So you get an additional 50% attack. You launch, and you do launch an additional super attack as the second or third attacker in a turn, for which you do raise defense and have a 50% chance to seal. So they are definitely a better floater. Additional 30% to stats whenever guard is activated, up to 150. Okay, so if you do trigger guard, you can have a pretty disgusting 300%. Coming in at 55%, again, not bad. If you do happen to get this, and this will be per rotation, by the way. So this would take about this would take 5 rotations. You get 5 rotations, 300% of this with the potential of guarding and damage reduction could be pretty nutty. But it would take potentially 5 rotations, which is technically 10 rotations, right? Which is bizarre. I mean, it's at least 10, which would mean it's a long event, which would mean this guy has a very limited use and would therefore be worthless, which is interesting because he has like a seal. He has a 50% chance to seal, which will put him useful in Extreme Super Battle Road, right? Because he's a great support. He can reduce damage in guard, but he builds up rather weirdly. He builds up whenever guard is activated, so you need which only has. I mean, you only get it as the first attacker in the turn, but you won't get it. But you won't put him as the first attacker in the turn. You just won't, because you'll have him as a floater, because he's guaranteed an additional super attack of which raises, and you have a double 50% chance to seal. That's ridiculous. Why have that? Why have that? Doesn't make any sense. Like, why have a slot 1 mechanic if you're not tailoring to slot 1? He's better at slot 2 or 3, which means that this and all of this, effectively half his passive, is worthless. His defensive viability is totally worthless, because it's not as if he has it's not as if he has a chance to guard or has damage reduction in slot 2 or 3. It's not as if he has his guards all attacks as the first attacker, but reduces damage by 20% as the second or third attacker. That would make sense. I mean, I'm just printing money. I'm basically verbally giving them money at this point. I'm just designing and creating the game. Why not? Because, I mean, it does not make sense. I mean, like, it seems impressive. Oh, he guards. Oh, he damage reduction. But no, it just doesn't. So what do we have? Loyalty, Destroy the Universe, Team Turles. Interesting. Brutal beatdown, Thirst for Conquest, Tough as Nails, Fierce Battle. Okay, so, for example, Destroy the Universe and Team Turles only really happens on Team Turles. Who the hell is on Team Turles? Dude, seriously? Turles is not on Team Turles. Why the hell do we have this? And there's one other problem, and that is it this? Is it this guy? No, it's not. It's this guy. Why the hell is this guy not on Team Turles? I'll touch in a moment. This is pointless. You get 2 key and a small chance to correct this. Aye, yeah, God. Right. Join forces, space traveling, terrifying conquerors, planetary destruction. Works well in triggering the links of quite a lot of like Destroy the Universe and Thirst for Conquest. But like, look, this guy doesn't have Team Turles. What's the bloody point of having a banner unit which doesn't build up and doesn't give? And I don't understand. It's like a brand new link which is irrelevant to the unit that it comes outside with. But yeah, sure. Okay, so he has an EZA, which we'll touch about in another video. And the Turles come out. But you check out the new Turles. Yeah, okay. Thirst for Conquest, Destroy the Universe. Wow. No key, and half the links don't even apply. So it's utter madness. Seriously, that Team Turles is bloody ridiculous. Okay, right. So 100% you put out 11,000 and 12,000 attack. All right, well, it seems impressive, but the only way you get it is if you intentionally go for slot one and get the guard. What about the situations where you're in Super Battle Road where you can put them in slot one, but you've lost, like you've killed a few of the enemies, so then you're left with one or two, but none of them attack slot one. So you put these guys in slot one, but the guard ain't going to be triggered because you ain't getting hit. Look, it remains to be seen. You'd have to use items in order to bump this guy up in slot one. For which case, if you're taking 3 or 4 super attacks, no item in the world is going to save you. But sure. Hey, do you know what? This guy has its perks. So let's check out what Diaz and Cacao do, and let's hope that this can be saved. So Diaz and Cacao AGL, let's have a look. Space Travel and Warriors 130%. Okay, fine, that's pretty decent. So you have 2 key 150%. So what do the other guys do? They have 150. So automatically these guys are better. 2 key 150%. Coming in at 55%, we have a little less defense, admittedly, yes. We have, instead of 8,000 and 9,000 attack, we have perhaps actually slightly more attack, a little less defense, almost 1,000 less. More importantly, we do have 2 key. Yes, so the AGL units do appear to have slightly more attack and slightly less defense, but I guess in checks and balances, that kind of balances out. So you launch an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack, of which raises attack with a 50% chance to stun. So between the 50% chance to seal and stun, this or automatically is better. Yeah, the int units do appear to raise defense, and these guys attack for the turn, but these guys have the stun chance, of which between the two, this would be better. Chance of performing a crit and to dodge plus 10% per space traveling warriors attacking in the same turn, not yourself. So you can actually have plus 20% to dodge. 20% crit, 20% dodge. You'd have to go for a dodge build in order to be relevant, so you have the 2 chances of proccing. You have 150% to attack, a 30% chance to crit, and a 30% chance to dodge as the second or third attacker. Okay, I kind of get the idea. So in slot 2 or 3, you have a 50% chance to dodge. That's actually pretty respectable. 50% chance to dodge a slot 2 or 3 with a 50% chance to stun the enemy. Okay, that's actually pretty respectable. And you get an additional 30% to attack and defense with each super attack performed, up to 150%. Okay, that's actually respectable because you go for additionals, maybe even dodge. Additionals to give you that extra super attack performed stats because you need it in additionals, of which each one will give you a 50% chance to stun, but you build up just by super attacking, not by guarding, which you wouldn't use. And you can use these as second or third attacker, for which you get 50% chance to dodge in the appropriate situation. 50% chance to dodge an extreme AGL works with this guy, this guy, this guy, and there might and Ginyu as well. So there are a few AGL units in here, extreme, which could work. Honestly, this guy just seems better. Right, 50% chance to dodge, 50% chance to stun. You've got well, versus 50% chance to steal, but a guarantee, but like 50% chance to actually build up on guard. It's kind of weird. This guy is better thought out. The only real downside is the guy, he doesn't have any defense in his super attack, but his super attack performed. He still technically gets 30%. So you still technically get that. Yeah, you can have 30% on super attack, but you're still technically getting defense on super attack. So that you're actually going to hit slightly higher because you're getting 30% attack, you're getting 30% attack, but you're also getting 30% defense. So technically, that actually would be better. So sure, this guy is just built better. Do you know, honestly, I can't really fault this guy. Because he has like comparable start of turn stats, comparable things. He has key in his passive and is just overall better. Yeah, he's not a support. These guys are indeed actually a support, but honestly, F the support. I'd rather just have these guys. Um, so sure. I mean, yeah, you will give physical Turles one key, but that's it. You're gonna give him one key. Whoop de doo. We're not talking 4, 5, 6 key. If that was the case, this would be a different story. But you're literally giving physical Turles, who has no key in his bloody passive outside of super attacking, one key, which is one key as a flipping thing. It's one key. It's really ridiculous. This guy's better. Okay, so moving on real quick, we have a little something which ties into the Team Turles. So we have this guy here. You see this guy? This guy came as a drop event from a certain specific unit. Looks like this guy from this story event actually going to get an awakening. It looks to be a pretty sick one as well. So he has an awakening and he has a TUR. So not only does he go to a UR, but he has a TUR. So this is a free-to-play drop event, which does actually go higher, which is pretty impressive. So this is it. Can we actually click on this? We can. So yeah, this guy, he drops from he drops from a certain event. With that in mind, it's nice to know that we can actually have a awakening for this guy. And more importantly, because he's a free to play drop unit, I mean, you'd expect him to have something like Team Turles, but he doesn't. By the way, for this totally free to play player from this drop event, look what we got. We got like Same Warrior Race, Brutal Beatdown, Thirst for Conquest, Big Bad Bosses. I mean, dude's got Shattering the Limit and Prepared for Battle, which really helps out in terms of a lot, because it helps out to unlock a few more when it comes to like Terrifying Conquerors or Space Traveling Warriors or Low Class Warriors, right? That's pretty great. So for a free-to-play player, like a kind of unit, he's pretty great. So we can talk about this particular unit at 100%. Coming in 9,000. Well, 9,000 seems on the low side, but let's see what this guy does. So, and this guy, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if he has an easy A, which we can find out in this. So he has 2 key 120%, and you get an additional 90% stats on super attack, of which a super attack effect, you do still get 30% stats for the turn. So it's not as if he's no joke, he's fully thought out. All enemies attack minus 30%. That's actually huge and has a lot of viability in situations where you can use that. So when it comes to like all of these extreme super battle roads, which like movie bosses can still be difficult, Terrifying Conquerors and Base Traveling Warriors can still be difficult for a lot of people, depending on your roster. Being able to use this unit, who's free to play to get from a drop event, with an enemy's attack minus 30%, with legitimately usable units, could actually make this huge. 30% chance to stun, fine. Additional 60% to stats and 30% chance to guard when facing 2 or more enemies. The fact that you get 60% to stats, as you know, is pretty great because you also get this, but if this fails, you still get 60%, which just buffs the guy. So the guy is definitely made to go into Super Battle Road, Extreme Super Battle Road, whatever, because he has this plus this. He's intentionally designed for that. And chance of evading enemies attack 30% when you're in attack down. So he has a medium chance to dodge, he has a medium chance to guard, and he has 180% plus the additional 90, 270% on super attack, which of course gives you 30%, so that's 300. Honestly, this dude's pretty decent. This guy's pretty bonkers. for a 2015 unit SR. They're finally coming around and actually giving this particular SR some love. Actually, do you know what? You gotta give them props. This could have gone either way. The fact that this has happened, this is pretty ridiculous. I love this. And do you know what? This dude may even yet have an easy A. Speaking of easy A's, we'll touch into them. But real quick, just as this video is touching 30 minutes, what does this campaign look like? Okay, so we got the new unit, which we just talked about, which is a physical Turles. We got the crappy unit here and some pretty decent unit here and some pretty decent. So we got two banner units, one crap, one not. Then you got this guy. What are we going to have? So we have to look at JP, but of course this will be 99% the same sort of deal. So of course we have the new Turles. Fantastic. The banner. What is the banner? This will be a lol. Should you summon? Well, no, probably not. No. Fresh off the anniversary, fresh off the worldwide download celebration. This is it. The Yamcha is randomly thrown in there. Sure. So physical Turles, is he good? Well, in a certain particular situation, yes, but it requires a lot of luck. Is he worth summoning for? Well, for me personally, yes, because he's my favourite unit, so sure, I'll be dropping a number of stones onto this. But of course, like AGL Turles, he is brilliant. Yamcha is brilliant, but he's not. And Bardock is pretty decent, but it's not worth doing for this, especially with the New Year's and Christmas step up for you free-to-play players not too far round the corner. So no, it is basically a skip. Nonetheless, what else can we expect? Well, we have a new story. This is the thing where you press event and it goes to story rather than going into the individual tabs. So sure, bunch of stones. We have a new LR Prime battle. This is LR Wheelo, AGL LR Wheelo. We'll talk about him later on. This will be a return because there's a sub easy A for AGL Giant Form Turles. I hear he's pretty great. So he will also sub easy A from this, which is pretty great. Right. We have Tech LR Gohan and Goten. Tech LR Go Bros. I hear good things and I hear bad things. I think the bad things is because it's a bit random and that this guy's been slapped in, but ain't the first time. Like Kale had AGL Boo, LR Boo slapped into the middle of it, so what the hell? So this is nothing by now. So of course we have a sub easy A, we have an LR easy A, which is pretty great, and we have relevant banners up for them. New stage of Super Battle Road. Gonna look forward to new docking event available daily. Okay, so the new docking event that's just related to the LR. Sure. New chain battle against Giant Ape Gohan, which is pretty great. Oh, and new stories. I believe this has not just more blue gems, but I believe it also has equips from missions, which should be pretty great. Nothing too mega hype. We do have an LREZA. Yeah, sure. But yeah. Anyway, let's see what we get for part 2 real quick, and then there's an extra. Part 2, we have an LR banner. Ooh, we touch on that in another video for sure. Super Strike event, AGL Vegeta. Ooh, actually, we've had a bit of a break. I can't remember what that was. The last one like TN. Anyway, we've had a bit of a break, and now we've got this guy. So it has legitimately been a little while, so that's fine. New missions for Fighting Legend Goku and Vegeta. Most recently, we had Future Saga and Realm of Gods, so sure, that'd be pretty nice. Yeah, a new Easy A comes out for a certain Raditz. We'll be able to touch into that into another video. New Baton Battle. All the relevant missions to awaken everybody. New Super Battle Road stage. Oh, this will be interesting. See, we had one a few months ago. I don't know if this will be applicable. If it does, boy, will that take up my time. Okay, so part 2 has a new strike battle, has an LR summon, which we will probably skip. But yeah, and then there's an extra. What does the extra do? Okay, so new players, you will be doing this every day for new players, guaranteed. Check out my other video in terms of what you do for the Warriors Grill or whatever. Zenny is double, that's your money, so that's pretty good. It's honestly come out with a couple of mil on that, never mind doubled. That's really nice. That's really nice. There's nothing really for for the extra. It's just to get a little extra money, a few extra limited time to get some extra equips, some link levels. That's basically it. It's just a little tad, little bit. This is more niche. You get a few more links, and that's basically it. Lunch guide, not entirely too sure what lunch guaranteed is, but sure, yeah. Anyway, should you summon? Well, no, you saw the banner. It's ass. Should you summon in general? Well, if you're like me, it's your favourite unit, sure. He's nothing mega by any particular means. I'm sure in the right situation he's great. He's got some pretty wonky banner units. This one's not too bad. Honestly, the highlight's probably the free to play SR. Like check out what this SR does. At some point, will Easy A, dude, check it out. This Easy A in the eighth anniversary, somewhere in the eighth year on the ninth anniversary, or the ninth era. So yeah, that's going to be pretty bonkers. And of course, we have this insane one. We do have an LR Easy, right? LR GoPro is the tech, so that's something to look forward to. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. We have a pretty long video, but hey, we gotta touch it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next time. Thank you and bye bye.